Hello and welcome to my channel. And if you are new, please like and subscribe. So today's topic, can you be a good father to your kids if you are cheating on your wife? Now I'm going to speak about this spiritually, what happens in the spirit, and also, well, how it affects in the spiritual and how it manifests in the physical. And this subject, a lot of people are going to get offended, and that's fine. And some are going to agree. Let's get this started. Every little girl dreams of marrying someone like their father. The reason for this is because, the father figure, he's a very, he's a great father. He's a great provider. He's very sweet to his daughters, and he loves them. He nurtures them. He is always the protector, not only of the household, but for his children. And so little girls, they curse themselves by saying, well, when I grow up, I want to marry someone like my daddy, because I look up to my dad. My dad is a good man. He's a gentleman. But when they grow up and they get married, they get cheated on. They get a husband who is also a good provider for his kids, but has a double life that is cheating on the wife. And so the wife, tells herself, well, how is this possible? When I used to say that I wanted, someone like my dad. But that little girl, what she didn't know was that her father was living a double life. He was cheating on her mom. He was, hiring escorts, going to strip clubs. He was living a double life. And so here's what happens. You ever seen, like if your great grandfather, everything has consequences. That's why, for example, you ever seen like, if it's like this type of curse where the great grandpa cheated on your great grandma, your grandpa cheated on your grandma, and your dad cheated on your mom, and then now you get cheated on, and it's like this whole cycle. It's a generational curse. It's the same thing as when domestic abuse, it happens from generation to generation to generation. And a lot of women, they won't talk about these topics because they are very sensitive about it. They are ashamed. And I've always said that one of the best tools that Satan likes to use is women who, is to make women feel ashamed of what they're going through. So that's why they live a lie in silence. They prefer to have this, beautiful family portrait. And, when something goes wrong, when the wife decides to kill the husband kills the wife, and then everybody's shocked. But I thought they were the perfect family because they were it was just a front. And domestic violence is actually on the rise even more now. And due to the coronavirus that is not helping, there are many, women who are being abused, who, they don't have nowhere to go due to this whole, situation that we are all being affected by. And so anyways, back to what I was saying, you may think that you are a great father, and a lot of the times, these fathers, they feel that, okay, well, they provide out of guilt. They do that. There are some men that, I actually have more respect for those, you know, husbands that they admit to their affairs, that they admit that they want to get a divorce so that they can have a married life with a significant other, then, you know, having someone who is stringing you along, who is cheating on you, who, you know, out of guilt is a great provider, but, you know, you may just end up catching an STD, you know? And so you have to realize this, that when your daughters get older, because you might think that you're getting away with it, you may not care because, you know, at that moment you think that, well, you know, you're getting away with it. Your wife doesn't know, but you can't fool anybody. That's why the Word of God says that even, you know, innocent children, you will pay for the sins of your forefathers, the sins of your mother, the sins of your father, the sins of your ancestors. And it's a whole generational curse. And a lot of people in this generation will never get it. The next generation, they'll never get it. And it's just a cycle that continues to only break families apart. And think about it. When your daughter gets older and she comes crying to you and she tells you, well, you know, that her husband is cheating on her, what are you going to tell her? You can't tell her shit, because you were doing the same thing to your wife. You were doing the same thing to her mother. You're not going to go kick his ass, you know? And this is a natural response that you will not do anything about it because you used to do it too. So there is some type of guilt that will stop you from kicking your daughter's husband's ass or the boyfriend's ass, doing that too. And so a lot of women, a lot of, you know, little girls, you know, they assume that their father is a perfect father. And it's true, you know, who wants to admit that, you know, that the father is a hoe? Nobody wants to, no little girl, no daughter wants to admit or think that way, that, oh, you know, my dad was a hoe, you know? And it really sucks because from what I've seen, there's 3 things that I've seen that hits in all generations. Like, there's just no doubt about it. Number 1, what people struggle with, a generational curses that it just continues on, is domestic abuse. You know, they're always being in some type of abusive relationship. You know, they can fight that. Like, somehow it's hard for them to get out of that. And then the second one is pedophilia. And a lot of that has to do also with your, you know, with your ancestors, you know, doing that, your great grandpa doing that. And somehow it's a sick, you know, generation after generation. The third one is, you know, the cheating spouse. It's just like a cycle of, you know, they're always cheating. Many of the times, you know, when women get cheated on, you know, they feel they were taught, oh, you know, like, just keep it in the family, you know, don't say anything, don't tell your problems to anyone, you know, or boys will be boys, men will be men. Well, he only did it once. And so they make the victim feel more like shit because, you know, they have these family members that are, you know, that they also, I'm sure more than likely, they also went through that. They have accepted it, that it's okay for them to cheat because men will be men. And, you know, and then the victim feels like she has to swallow all this shit because her own family is telling her that. And so when does this cycle end? Not never. It sucks that, you know, that a lot of women, they think that way, that they have to keep up with a cheating spouse due to the kids. You know, they stay in a bitter marriage. because of that, because they are probably respected people in the church. And you'd be surprised how many marriages inside the church are battling with violence, are battling with a cheating spouse. And these people are Christians. But you will never hear that unless it's rare that a woman will come out. And then when they do come out, like those huge pastors, they play the victim. The pastor that cheats on his wife plays the victim. Oh, it was the Jezebel spirit that tempted me. They never own up to their shit. They never apologize to the wife. And the wife, there she is. Everybody is watching, her, and then it's like all this shit that she has to swallow and keep up with, because that's what she is taught. That's probably what her grandma went through. And so this is all a generational curse. So if you think that you are a good father and you are cheating on your wife, you are not a good father, because you're not setting the example for your daughter. You're not setting the example for the husband, for whoever she's going to marry. You're not setting the example to tell him how to treat your daughter. And a lot of these parents, a lot of these fathers that they cheat, when they're girls they start dating, they don't really have that caring or support to be like, subconsciously, it's like subconsciously they know that they can't say shit. For example, like, you better treat my daughter right, you better respect her. They don't have that ability to say that, because deep down they know that they ought to fucked up so many times on her mom that they feel, being hypocrites. So a lot of these fathers, they won't even bother, standing up for the person that their daughter is dating, and it just really sucks, because and then when these fathers cheat and they have sons, guess who turns out to be cheaters also? The sons. This is why it's like a generational curse. Or even when there's some type of alcohol or drug abuse, you always see that, like, if the father was, say, drunkard or into drugs, you always see that more than likely, nine times out of 10, the son also becomes like an alcoholic, drug abuse, a cheater. And so, this is just a small video about, why are we still going through this spiritual warfare, and how it affects. I believe that, everything that we're going through right now is because so much sin. There's just so much sin that, this might be like time for people, for us to reflect upon life, to appreciate, what we have with our families, and to hopefully, get it right. So I hope you guys have a great 4th of July. I love you.